Good evening, cousins, and welcome to another Shattersong LARP Diaries episode. We're going to be looking at the gods of Menhirs' fate. And I hear you ask, Chris, why on earth did you promise us in the last chronological video that all of the following episodes were going to be about the skills and the combat mechanics? That's because I lied, dear listeners, and I will continue to do this to you. If you don't like it, skip this episode and go to the next one that talks about, I think it's going to be faith skills. I haven't recorded it yet, as you can hear. And on top of that, I will have recorded it by the time you listen to this, because I'm pre-making episodes for when I'm away. So isn't it wonderful to get confused on a Thursday night? But, do you know what else is confusing on a Thursday night? The gods of Menhirs' fate. Specifically, the Jester, the Trickster, and one I might have borrowed from for that, I was going to say comedic intro, but if you laughed at that out loud, I mean, thank you, that's flattering, but it wasn't funny. It wasn't very funny. If you want something really funny to tell your friends, and this I'll give you for free, is a little one-liner joke. What do you do when you see a fireman? You put it out, man. Right, let's go on for the Jester. So, the Jester, the god of performance and trickery. Their domain looks over all those would-be bards. Excuse me, he's trying to choke me for beyond. Would-be bards, poets, witty dealers, and artists. They love all forms of performance, be it a shy child singing their first song, to a magician in front of a crowd, or a story being told through tears at funeral. The Jester loves those that celebrate and work the arts and their known aspects also into that. Can I read? And work the arts and their known aspects do... Oh, sorry. The Jester loves those that celebrate and work the arts, and the aspects of the Jesters, which are like their heralds, also do. There we go. Trickery dedicated to the Jester must have a purpose, as they do not care for pranks purely for the sake of it. Satirical performances, holding the powerful to task, con artists fooling supplies out of resource hoarders or war profiteers, and deceptions designed to inspire or teach people are examples of worthy acts in the Jester's name. Cool. Alright, it's Segora. It's the laughing god. Excellent. Good shout. Right, trickery must have a purpose, one of the key tenets of the Jester. Deception should entertain or teach a lesson. Lies and pranks for the sake of cruelty and greed are not the Jester's way. 2. Find joy in all things. Life should be celebrated, even in sorrow. Laughter, music and performances uplift the spirit and soothe the grieving. 3. The show must go on. Art persists through all hardships, and one should always find a way to create and perform. Symbols of the Jester include the paintbrush, the dice, and the musical note. If you want to leave a calling card for doing... Now, does pranks and theft come under the same... Maybe, I'm thinking you nick something from someone, you leave a calling card with a clue, takes them to a spot where they see something that should change their behaviour. Perhaps they're, let's call them a wealth hoarder, and then you lead them to a soup kitchen. And then there's another card there that leads them back to their stolen purse, and hopefully they've learned a lesson on the way. That sounds like a really cool, good baddie, Robin Hood style, to interact with the game in the name of the Jester. Sounds pretty cool. I like it. So aspects of the Jester. The Merrymaker. Joy is a performance of its own, and the Merrymaker exists to ensure it is never forgotten. This aspect appears where laughter, song, and dance thrive, taking on many roles. A grinning reveller clapping along to the beat, a stranger pulling hesitant dancers into the circle, or even a soft voice urging a lonely soul to listen to a quiet tune. Their presence brings warmth, but they do not linger where merriment fades, and a sullen merrymaker is a rare and terrible sight. The Trickster is the playful hand of the Jester, his second aspect, ever seeking the thrill of mischief and deception. but their tricks are never idle. A well-placed jest can humble the arrogant, a clever scheme can upend a tyrant, and a well-crafted illusion can reveal truths hidden behind lies. They are drawn to those who wield wit and cunning or delight in turning the world on its head, for there is often the clearest wisdom in chaos and confusion. And finally, the troubadour. The jester despises the idea of a world that ignores art, and the troubadour ensures that none forget its value. This aspect walks among the streets, taking the form of a lone performer, a musician playing for passing strangers, a poet reciting to an empty square, or an actor crafting a scene for no audience but the wind. Those who pause to listen and truly appreciate the gift of creation may find their generosity returned in unexpected ways. But those who walk past unmoved, blind to the beauty offered freely before them, may later find themselves longing for a song they never heard, or a tale they will never know. Interesting. So I think any bards who want to play, the Jester is very much there for your troubadour types. The Merrymaker, if you want to go along and like shitpost and just have a good time, drink and share ale, great. That's literally in the lore. You're a maybe not a servant, a follower of the Merrymaker, and all linking back up to the Jester. On top of that, talked about the trickster thing with the Robin Hood style, steal someone, lead into a soup kitchen, yada yada. I like it. Good God. Solid 7 out of 10. I don't think that's anything particularly new, but in terms of roleplay mechanics and encouraging people to create game for others to engage with, thumbs up. 7 out of 10. Next up, god number 2, the Hearth. The Hearth is the god of home and health, and their presence is felt wherever warmth and care are shared. They watch over the flickering campfires of weary travellers, the sick struggling through misfortune, the healers who mend bodies and spirits, and those who open their homes to others. The Hearth embraces all, but they are especially drawn to places where Elandrians physically, mentally, or spiritually support one another. The Hearth's presence can be felt wherever kindness is offered, community is found, or a meal is shared. Soup kitchen, I'm telling you, thing of the future. Right, tenets of the Hearth. Healing hands need open hearts, tend the fire, and be the shelter in the storm. And these broadly mean care to the wounded, sick and weary. A fire left unattended will fade, so too will love, trust and kindness, if not nurtured. So you should stoke the flames of your community. And then finally, whether from a raging storm or the burdens of the soul, all seek refuge at some point. Be the steady hand, open the door, and be the comforting presence that provides safety without question. So this is the be nice god. This is warm, fuzzy, and lovely. Excellent. I'm not sure if I'm thinking of a tavern. Would it be the Hearth? For here, I think a hospital would certainly, a hospital or a church would enamour the Hearth. And then a pub or an inn would maybe go to the Jester. No, a pub or inn is probably still going to be the Hearth, but have elements of the Jester inside. Cool. 3 aspects of the Hearth. The Physica, no prizes. Being a doctor, being a physic. They do not try to cheat the Reaper of those whose time has come, but they only seek to prevent those who can be saved from visiting that domain early. So they do their best to keep you alive, and if you die, whoops. Cool. The Guest. The Hearth likes to feel and witness how Elandrians treat their guests, and like to play that guest. Be it a figure asking for warmth by the fire during a dark night with adventurers, or getting a room at an inn. They are very much interested in the tales and health of those that are around them. Many adventurers talk of a figure always different, but seemingly the tale is the same the next morning they wake to their supplies refilled and their wounds healed, if they treated the guest well. Others have spoken about their supply all being rotten and their wounds itching when they turned away the guest. Cool. So I see this in Farushka. You've got the whole treat people with hospitality, and they're bound by Hearth magic to give it back to you, and it stops bird people like Mora from eating you in your sleep. The guest feels like that same kind of exchange. Be nice to people and they'll be nice to you, and who knows, when these NPCs visit Menhir, then you might get a bonus. You found your supplies refilled and wounds healed, so you get a mass heal and maybe some figure back or something. Sounds really cool, and again, good LARP mechanic to get people to talk to each other and engage in conversations and say hello to new people. Finally, the host. The host is the other side of the coin to the guest. Most tales about them are of a fireside cook, willing to spare a bit of stew with those who need it. Some adventurers mention a whole inn appearing from around a corner, then after a night or two disappearing again. The Hearth's personification as the host is happy and wishes to help those grateful guests with any needs. Those who don't act as thankful guests usually find many things don't go their way. So I think the Hearth is actually, I want to give this a 9 out of 10, because there's 10 out of 10 would be if it was original. There's nothing new here, really. It's home and hospitality, but it's codified as a god rather than rules of code and conduct. And what we're doing here is enabling bars, taverns, little soup kitchens, meeting rooms and stuff to be set up inside Menhir, and have a lore reason to do so. And we've also got mechanics here for the NPCs to reward players who do so. And I'm not saying that Menhir's Fate is going to go around giving resources to people who run taverns, because that's just metagaming and cheap. And so far they've seemed to be really committed to the spirit of the game. But I think they're going to lean towards helping those people because they help enrich the community and enrich the experience of LARP. That's my oblique... No, that's not the right word. I think that's my hot take from this, is there's lots of things here being encouraged and explicitly being rewarded in the background, in the fluff, that it wouldn't be out of character for those to be rewarded in-game by NPCs. But overall, Hearth, 9 out of 10. Really good mechanic. Next up, the Muse, the god of inspiration and imagination. Their domain reaches to all those who have a sudden spark or idea, and those that pray to be given guidance in any matter, be it a new weaving, a smith working a new lock design, or the words for a poem to get the meaning across. The Muse is that little voice in your head telling you it will work, or a nudge in the street so your eyes see something that inspires you. Its symbols are the moon, the flower, or the lantern. Its tenets are grasp the essence of creation, share the spark, and break the pattern. And in order, these mean the Muse cares not for perfection, but the act of creation itself. Make freely without concern for approval. Art is an expression of your soul, and not a commodity to be judged. The second one means that ideas are meant to grow and spread. And the third is that routine dulls the mind. So when you're in a rut, step away from the familiar and embrace the unsure. Aspects of the Muse include the euphonist, the vision, and the philosopher. So the euphonist is the gentlest manifestation of the Muse, whispering inspiration to those who are open to listen. Rather than commanding attention with grand gestures, this aspect often offers soft words and thoughtful questions that nudge the listener toward discovering their potential. The euphonist seeks to awaken the dormant creativity within others, guiding them to their inspiration from within. Often they are seen in quiet moments, speaking not with force, but with the kind of encouragement that makes one believe that they've always known the answer and just needed the right nudge. The aspect of the vision, sometimes seen in a hazy moment between waking and sleeping, is often thought of an idea that comes into being overnight. The vision is an aspect who pulls the subconscious through thoughts and towards an idea that often provides focus to those who have begun creating something, but just cannot find the spark needed to finish them. And finally, the philosopher is not only concerned with having ideas and providing them, sometimes the philosopher wants you to know why you want to do something, and consider this just as important. The motivation for doing something is a key component of inspiring you, and questioning your reasons to inspire a new approach. This aspect loves to debate the why, and will usually give the mind something to think about. Interesting. So I would have thought the Muse might be for poets and songwriters, but that seems to be more the Jester's troubadour performance and creativity side. I think the Muse can still apply to musicians, but this feels more broad. This is about, why are you doing something? What are you trying to achieve? What's your spark? What's your edge? And I could actually see, I was going to say politicians and the like. I think this, for those who want to make change, meaningful change, could follow the Muse. But also warriors, like a new art of combat, or a new unit, or a new way of leadership, or you want to reclaim some of your home territories. I think the Muse actually can apply pretty well here. I'm going to give this an 8 because I don't think it's particularly common. It's inspiration, it's sparks and ideas. But again, codified as a god, so anyone can be a religious character following this. And you could go around as a priest being, the vision or the philosopher, and just interrogating people as, why are you doing this? What are you doing? And then give them that soft interrogation to really understand what they're trying to do in game. So am I trying to build a business? Okay, great, but why? With that money, what will you do? And once you've built that thing, do you stop and do something else? Do you keep going? And why in either case? So I think this will lead to some good roleplay across lots of different archetypes. I'm a fan. Right. How many gods have we got in total? We've got the Smith is up next, but that's been 4, 8, 12. Cool. We'll split this into 3 parts. The 4th god, the Smith. There are no prizes for guessing what this guy does. The Smith is the god of creation and productivity, overseeing everything forged, crafted, or repurposed. From the construction of grand castles by teams of skilled builders, to a solitary seamstress and their delicate needlework, the Smith's domain is rooted in the act of making. They take joy in watching people shape raw materials into something new, and in the ingenuity of turning what was once considered old or useless into something functional again. Its symbols include the hammer, the anvil, and the gem. So, tenets of the Smith. She wants to reforge what is broken. She wants perfection through process, and she wants to break the pattern. A bit similar to the Muse, actually, breaking the mundane, but breaking the pattern. Interesting. Alright, so for the first one, reforging what is broken, whether an object, a person, or an idea, take what it is damaged or forgotten, and then we must reforge it and breathe new life into it. In repair and transformation lies new strength. From perfection through process, mastery is not gifted but earned. It is found in the dedication and skill poured into every step along the path of practice. Embrace the journey of creation. For every paled paw, warped blade, or snagged hem is a lesson learned on the road to excellence. So Thomas Edison. Finally, breaking the pattern. Born from water, we are forged in fire. It is in the heat and pressure of the forge that the strongest creations are born. We are at our best when we are growing, so challenges and difficulties are not to be feared, but welcomed and overcome. Aspects of the Smith include the collector, the miner, and the builder. So the collector embodies a deep appreciation for craftsmanship and artistry, fascinated by the value of creation, but not in the monetary sense, but in the dedication and skill put into every piece. They seek out objects of fine craftsmanship, inspecting them carefully and learning from how the maker was poured. Learning from how the maker and learning from the maker and understanding how they've poured their heart into their work. The collector often purchases these pieces, sometimes reselling them for less, so others can witness their beauty and appreciate the hands that shape them. For the collector, the worth of an item is defined by the story it tells and the mastery behind it, rather than its price tag. So if you know the Imperial Orcs well in Empire, you've got items have worth or stories behind them. Very similar here, if you want to pick that up. The miner is a humble, hard-working aspect of the smith, embodying the grit and perseverance needed to gather the raw materials that fuel creation. Covered in the grime of their labour, the miner spends their days deep within the earth, searching for the ores, stones and materials that are the foundations of great works. Often overlooked in the bustle of creation, the miner draws satisfaction from their quiet work behind the scenes. Followers of the smith may find themselves blessed by the miner's touch, with materials appearing just where they are needed, left by unseen, soot-stained hands. So for the, I was about to say mole people, that's what we've been calling the nation that, is it Cyrodonia, I believe? I hope I've got that right, but it's one that wears all black jumpsuits, lives underground, highly ordered society, a bit militant, and with UV paint on them. Sounds like a perfect aspect for them. And then finally, the builder is the meticulous, patient hand that ensures things are made strong and true. They are concerned with integrity, from the tallest fortress to the most intricate clock. They never rush to work, but offer advice, tools, or assistance to ensure it is done properly. They see every project as an investment in the future, ensuring that the bones of creation are solid and enduring. So the builder, obviously, an actual artisan, a manufacturer of goods, but I can see politicians leaning into this again. If you want to build something, a new way of doing things, the builder's for you. You invest in the future and make sure the bones of creation are solid and enduring. So even if you've got a business, for example, and you're crafting a process that is efficient and robust and easy to understand, the builder might just be for you. Alright then, so there's the smith. I'm going to give that a 5 out of 10. It's the generic crafting god. The aspects, there's nothing wrong with them, but I don't see anything particularly new here. And in terms of the actual mechanics and LARP interactions, obviously it's for the artisans, great, but I don't see any real crossovers with other archetypes, and artisans are quite niche. I think a collector could be a tradesperson, the miner could be a whole nation, so this might affect more people like the Cyrodonians, and the builder could apply to a politician or to a business person as well, but I think these are grasping a little bit more than, say, the Hearth, for example, that gives you clear direction on how to run a pub, how to run an inn, and the kind of rewards you can expect from that. The smith is more about make something nice, ensure that it's nice. Thank you, goodbye, here's some rocks, do it again. I'm massively paraphrasing, but that's my overall vibe. But there we have it, dear cousins, the first 4 gods of the Jester, the Hearth, the Muse, and the Smith. I really like the Jester and the Hearth. The Muse is an interesting concept, and the Smith is exactly what you'd expect it to be. So far so good. We've got 8 more to go, but I'm going to do those in a different episode. So until then, TTFN, ta-ta for now.